Good morning. I'll tell you, there's been an awful lot of pondering going on in my life lately. And today, the title that I've settled on is As We Change, the World Changes. The most difficult thing for me to see from my subjective vantage point has been the recognition of the importance of varying roles. Because I so often feel insecure in my own role, I want others to affirm my viewpoint, providing what I feel I lack. What life seems to be showing me is that others have very similar feelings. Like me, they have doubts they will be able to fulfill their role, which they perceive as their purpose or vision. That's the dilemma of human life from a limited perspective of separation. Yet separation is not the reality. A single web of life is reality. As we come to see this more and more, we change. And as we change, the world around us changes as well. I wish I could see it all clearly now. However, everything seems to be in a state of flux, oscillating back and forth on my mental, emotional, and spiritual monitor. Interesting. Indeed, as I've pondered events of the past couple of weeks, including my conversation with Bill Ballard and his subsequent videos, including the one that I watched a couple days ago, that was about an hour long. Like Bill, I've had to re-examine where I am. And Bill represented for me a fairly large segment of people in my life. People who, from my perspective, just don't get it. Because I want them to get what I'm getting. Just like they want me to get what they're getting. And you see how this game goes back and forth. Unlike so many, I admit my own doubts and my insecurities. For many people, that would not be a wise thing to do, because if you admit it, it's only going to get worse. Well, I don't find that to be true. When I admit it and I allow myself to be vulnerable in my insecurities, I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. If I were to deny what I'm actually feeling and what I'm going through, I feel I would be stuck in lying to myself and not in the illusion. But each of us, this is what is dawning on me again and again. You'd think I would get the message because it's been dawning on me forever. And yet it doesn't totally sink in. That each person is exactly where he or she needs to be in the awakening process. You see, I want to speed the awakening process more so that I can finally reach a place where I feel secure. So I can finally reach a place where I don't have to deal with so many negative emotions and so many issues in my own being, in my own life. I'd like to have stability. I'd like to have a sense that, man, I've arrived and I can finally rest. But there is no ultimate rest. Oh, yes, of course, I have moments. Of course, I have even periods of my life where it seems like things are going comfortably well for me. And at those times, I don't have as much insecurity. I feel stronger. I feel more certain and sure of myself. But then I get these periods like I'm in right now, and I think a lot of people are in right now, this state of flux where I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. Because the truth is, I simply don't know what it is. I don't even know what label to put on it, as Peter said when we talked on Father's Day morning, or on Sunday morning, which was aired yesterday. And so I look at these people that come to me with these messages, and I think, man, that's not where I am. I can't be where they are because I don't see what they're seeing. I'm seeing it different. For example, to me, awakening means becoming aware of the world that we live in. Not pretending it's not real. Not going into denial. Not putting our heads in the sand or up our butts. But looking at the world as it is, with all of its conspiracies. And anybody that doesn't believe that there's conspiracies doesn't understand human life. We all conspire to become secure. We all deal with fears and insecurity. None of us live our lives doubt-free. And anybody that says they do, I think they have to be lying to themselves. I can't imagine living my life without doubt. I'd like to get there. I haven't gotten there yet. After all of these years on this spiritual journey, after all these years of this human experience, this spiritual being still as a human suffers doubt, suffers anxiety, suffers fear, suffers anger, suffers all of the so-called negative emotions, and I've done my best not to push them away. And that's not always easy, because the natural thing is to want to push them away, to want to feel good about myself, about my dreams coming true, about fulfillment, that life is not a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury signifying nothing, but that it really does have meaning. It really does have the potential of actual fulfillment. And yet, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like I keep being confronted with people that to me, from my vantage point, don't want to see the big picture. Because if they think if they see the big picture, somehow it's going to get worse. Well, it probably is going to get worse till it gets better. But you don't fix problems by ignoring them. You must treat for the problem, or that's a science of mind term. Treat means pray. Treat means put yourself, in a higher frame of mind. Try to see it from a higher perspective. Try to see that there's more to the picture than what you're focusing on or seeing at the present time. There always is more. We are always more than what we think we are. Always. But we see as humans through limited perspectives. We see from a small, narrow vantage point. And we think that my role is the only one that's right. My role is the one that's needed. And the truth of the matter is, all of our roles are needed, including the people that are playing what we would call dark roles, including the Illuminati. Their role has been important. Now, I've intellectually been able to grasp that. It's still hard for me to emotionally grasp it because they abuse, greatly abuse, everybody else to serve themselves. Service to self is horrific. The results of it. It's unsustainable because we are all connected in a web of life. So when we act as if we're the only one that matters, naturally it's going to be unsustainable, and it's going to create a lot of stress and a lot of distress and a lot of problems, a lot of horrible things. And that's the world that we're living in. And I look at the leader of Turkey, a madman who thinks he's the reincarnation of Genghis Khan, I guess, from what I've read. And he's going and he's fighting these people that are peacefully protesting in Istanbul and in other parts of Turkey. And that's just one thing. Syria, of course, the Palestinian situation, places in Africa, places in Latin America, all over the world, there is distress, and people are waking up. And I like it that people are waking up. And yet there are people that are playing a different role, and they're anchoring the light in a different way. They're doing what Bill Ballard does, is going and working on the grid. And I don't understand sometimes other people's roles. I don't get it because it's not my role. Just like if I was the stomach trying to understand the brain or the lungs. It's a totally different system, and yet it's interconnected with what I'm doing. It's not my role to do that function. It's my role to do this function, and when I'm doing this function, the whole works together in synchronicity and in it reaches a state of homeostasis where it comes into harmony and balance. But if I'm fighting and trying to get the brain to do what I'm doing as the stomach or as the anus, well, there's going to be discord, right? I need to be able to see that Bill Ballard and all of my friends that Bill Ballard represents are playing a role that's absolutely essential for the big picture, even if I can't see it. And my calling is to love anyway. And Bill loves me, and I love Bill, and I love others that also, like Bill, don't see things the way that I see things. And so this is a challenge and a constant struggle for me to come into harmony with those that it's difficult, because I want them to be like me. But if they were like me, we'd be out of balance. Everybody can't be like me. I hope this makes sense to you, because I'm trying to get it to make sense to me, for me. I want to live in peace and harmony with everybody. Now, I listened to the One People program with Lisa Harrison and crew last night, and Heather was on at the beginning talking about the way to access our value, our universal value. And I wish I could tell you that I totally get it. I don't yet. But I feel that she's on the right track. That's her role. And what they're what's unfolding is a change, a dramatic change in the financial world that we live in, which will inevitably produce changes in the geopolitical world. And all of it changes us spiritually as we begin to see the bigger picture and to accept the fact that we aren't supposed to all be the same. We are supposed to have our individuality and our individual roles and our individual cultures as people. We're supposed to be like that. That's the way it's designed. And it's designed that way on purpose, because each person and each grouping of people has a significant part in the whole puzzle. And if we can only accept that there is a wisdom that's working through this whole thing, I think I can rest a whole lot easier and not quite get so discombobulated when people don't measure up the way that I think they should measure up. So anyway, these are the rambling thoughts that I have this morning. And I trust that it will be meaningful to those that listen. And I appreciate each of you that takes time out of your day, many of you every day, to listen to this talking head ramble on about my perceptions of reality. Namaste.